and welcome to S24 Rundown. I am Zainab Ibrahim and here's our news in brief. To start with, the Defense Headquarters has confirmed that both soldiers and insurgents were killed after a coordinated attack on a military base in Beni Sheikh, Kaga local government area of Borno State. The assault, which occurred in the early hours of April 9, 2026, targeted the 29 Task Force Brigade headquarters, with insurgents attempting to overrun the facility before troops resisted. According to a statement by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, the military described the attack as a sign of depression by terrorist groups following heavy losses in recent operations. He added that troops have since launched follow-up clearance operations to track the fleeing insurgents and prevent them from regrouping while reinforcing security in the area. Still on security, residents of at least 21 villages in Sokoto State have abandoned their homes after many families left behind their belongings and livelihoods, saying they could no longer endure the constant fear and violence that had gripped their villages. Most of the displaced persons have taken refuge in Tureta and nearby areas where they now struggle with overcrowding, hunger, and lack of basic support. Some are staying with relatives, while others sleep in schools or temporary shelters, enduring hard conditions as they wait for improved security and assistance from authorities. The United States has ordered the departure of non-essential staff and their families from its embassy in Abuja, citing worsening security conditions across Nigeria. In a fresh travel advisory, the U.S. State Department urged its citizens to reconsider travel to Nigeria, placing the country at level 3 due to concerns over crime, terrorism, kidnapping, and civil unrest. The advisory also expanded its do not travel list to 23 states, including Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Plateau, Rivers, and others, highlighting risks such as armed violence, banditry, and kidnapping. The State Department further warned that healthcare services in Nigeria are limited and inconsistent, advising Americans to take precaution, avoid large gatherings, and enroll for safety updates if travel is unavoidable. Up next, the federal government of Nigeria has raised alarm over the spread of contagious bovine pleural pneumonia, revealing that the disease has affected more than 70 states across Nigeria. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar, losses if not urgently contained. Authorities say the outbreak poses risks to food security as cattle production plays a vital role in meat and dairy supply nationwide. The government, however, assured that efforts are underway to control the spread of the disease through vaccination programs, improved veterinary services, and stronger collaboration with state governments and livestock stakeholders. The Trade Union Congress has called on the federal government to introduce subsidies to help cushion the impact of rising fuel prices on Nigerians. The union expressed concern that the continuous increase in petrol cost is worsening the cost of living, placing heavy financial pressure on workers and ordinary citizens across the country. According to the TUC, supporting local refineries through subsidies could help stabilize fuel price and reduce the burden on consumers. The union warned that without urgent intervention, the situation could further deteriorate, urging the government to take swift action to ease the economic hardship faced by Nigerians. And on the international scene, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is occupied East Jerusalem has reopened to Muslim worshippers after a 40-day closure imposed by Israeli authorities amidst the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. The mosque was reopened at dawn on Thursday, allowing hundreds of Palestinian worshippers to return to the Al-Haram Al-Sharif compound for the first time in weeks. Many gathered for early morning prayers with emotional scenes reported as worshippers streamed through the gate, some shedding tears and offering prayers of gratitude. Now moving on to business news with Hadiza Galadima. Hello Hadiza, what's going on in the business news today?
Good afternoon and welcome to your business news update this Friday, the 10th of April 2026. I am Hadiza Galadima. Today we track the polls of the markets as Nigeria's housing sector faces a critical squeeze, while the global energy markets remain on edge due to the shifting geopolitical tides. From the boardroom to the marketplace, we bring you the numbers that matter. In a quiet but alarming crisis that is taking a hold across Nigerians' urban centers, data released this morning highlights a relentless rise in house rents in cities like Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Experts warn that the country now faces a deficit in nearly 15 million housing units, with the World Bank estimating that over 59 trillion naira is needed to bridge this gap. Many middle-income earners are being forced to relocate to the outskirts as landlords adjust prices to keep pace with the broader inflationary pressures. And the Central Bank of Nigeria's latest business expectations survey reveals that while local firm remains cautiously optimistic about 2026, operational hurdles are mounting. Insufficient power supply and insecurity have been identified as the two most significant drags on profitability. Despite these persistent headwinds, the manufacturing sector has shown resilience, with many firms opting to absorb costs rather than passing full price hikes to the already stretched Nigerian consumer. And market watchers are keeping a close eye on the National Bureau of Statistics as food inflation sees a sharp uptick this month. The average pump price of petrol is now hovering around 1,168 naira per litre, has triggered a domino effect on logistics. The price of staples like yam and garri rose by over 13% in the last few weeks alone. Analysts suggest that while the naira has maintained relative stability at approximately 1,360 naira to the dollar, the energy shock remains the primary driver of the current cost of living squeeze. And finally, on the international stage, Brent crude is trading near $96 per barrel as the world watches the Strait of Hormuz. Despite the reported ceasefire agreement between Washington and Tehran, shipping activities through this vital corridor, which handles 20% of global oil flows, remains heavily restricted. In the East, China factory gate prices have finally ended a 3-year deflationary streak, signaling a potential recovery in global manufacturing demand, though soaring energy costs continue to threaten the pace of that rebound. That's the latest from the world of business. The conversation does not end here. Coming up next, we dive deep into the headlines with our signature newspaper review with Zainab Ibrahim and Abubakar Turaki. After the break, stay with us and have a productive weekend ahead. Zainab, Abubakar, over to you.
Welcome back. Good to see you again. Now, up next is newspaper review, and I'm here with Abubakar Turaki as usual. Hello, Abubakar. So what do we have today? I think our first paper is the Vanguard. On the Vanguard, it says cuts, throat rent hikes worsening Nigeria's housing crisis. I think we've had this conversation before with you. What would you say about the rising cost of houses in Abuja, in Nigeria entirely?
The rising cost of houses in Abuja is becoming alarming and is becoming discouraging. And this is to show you that people nowadays are actually living in a very critical condition. Because if you are talking of housing, you're talking of a basic necessity of life. No matter what, at least you need to have a shelter to sleep under it. And recently, S24 have went out and took a report on why housing is increasing in Abuja. So based on that report, I saw a lady, a woman, was complaining how landlords and the agents, they are actually doing one or two things. Because based on what she narrated, she said that when she came, first, she was paying 750,000 naira. Within a period of time, she started paying 950,000 naira, and within a period of time, she's now paying 1.8 million naira for just 2-bedroom.
After making that research, what I realized was that when it comes to housing, especially because our research was in Abuja, when it comes to housing for landlords, it's now a competition. Yes. So it's not about the value of the house any longer. It's now a competition because this person is increasing their house. My house might even be better than this person, so I have the liberty to also increasing my house rent, not minding the people living in the house, the people acquiring this house. They're just on the 70,000 minimum wage.
I think they should.
So what do you think? Do you think the house rent should be cut down, or the government should look into increasing the wealth of the citizens?
A house that was built 10 years ago, why are you still increasing the rent now? And the renovation,
yes,
the maintenance, still is the tenant that is doing all that thing. And why are you increasing that? And if you look at around Abuja and some part of Nigeria, you will see houses that have been built 5 years ago. They were locked. Nobody is living there. Why people are outside living under a very uninhabitant way.
Especially in Abuja, we have so many empty houses, luxurious. Yeah, I'm talking from what I've seen here in Abuja, luxurious houses that nobody are living in. What is even the repercussion of having empty houses that people do not live in?
That is why a lot of times the high rate of insecurity is increasing day by day. Because some criminal element allegedly they are using all those houses that are not occupied as a hideout to them.
Yeah.
Because a scenario is going to happen, an attack is going to happen if people are out in order to search for people who perpetrate that thing. They would likely use that incompleted house or that unoccupied houses for them to serve as an hideout. So it's a call to the government that please they should provide a scheme whereby, as I'm talking to you now, a civil servant on level 8 will not afford house in Abuja unless some part of Abuja.
Let me shock you. Do you know it's not just a hideout for criminals? Some landlords are intentionally giving it to those criminals because they are the only caliber of people that can afford a house. Yes. So it's not about who you are, what's your occupation. It's about who can afford a house. I've heard from so many agents, they were saying that it's because of the Yahoo boys. They make it they make it easy for the house rent to be increased because no matter the price, they're going to require it.
We still have a long way to go if the government can come into the matter with strong force by building massive housing for Nigerians. I think Nigerians will appreciate that from the government side.
From my perspective, I don't know if it's a government issue. I think it's just a citizen issue, individual issue, something that should be corrected from individuals. Let's go to the second newspaper, and this is on Daily Trust front page. It says, terrorists killed general, 17 soldiers in Borno. And I read on the news that it says this killing was because of desperation. Was it because of desperation?
You see, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is increasing day by day. Yeah. Today you will attack here, attack there, attack all over Nigeria.
It's becoming a culture.
It's becoming a culture and it's becoming uncontrollable. And do you know what it takes for someone to be a general in the Nigerian army? He has passed through rigorous training. He has passed through rigorous workshop. And it's not only the general that was killed. Some young gallant officers, I think they are 17 or 18, were also killed.
You know, it's scary that our gallant soldiers who are supposed
to... a national gap to us. Do you know how it's long for us to have such number of gallant officers that will continue to give their life to the protection of Nigeria? And you are talking of Northeast. That was actually a place where gallant officers like Colonel Abu Ali was killed 78 years ago.
You know, I saw something I would call an embarrassing story online where the U.S. embassy is already calling on its people to flee Nigeria or don't even go there. So it was so embarrassing that
because to my perception, and many Nigerians are thinking that why is it that Boko Haram are using some method that are being employed by Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, ISIS, Hezbollah, and some other terrorist group? Where did we get it wrong?
Every association gets better, so even the terrorists will get better with whatever they're doing. Do you think they will stay in the spot since they've started this terrorism? So it will only, if you don't curb it, it will only get better. They will only get smarter. So is either the federal government are ahead of them, or they're ahead of the federal government? So I would not want us to just dwell on the security issue. Let's go to our final story, still on the Daily Trust front page. It says, there is no how we'll come here without talking about 2027 election. So this is ahead of 2027 election. Don't truncate democracy. Arewa think tank, CSOs caution opposition. Do you think there are any incidents going on right now that doesn't look like we're practicing democracy?
Zainab, the politics behind 2027 is becoming astonishing in Nigeria. Because based on what DCs are talking about, they are talking about safeguarding Nigeria's democracy. And part of the issue they actually outlined was regionalizing politics. Some people are practicing politics based on sentiment, religion, ethnicity, favoritism, and sectionalism.
And we are experiencing high-level political apathy. Do you know, I'm just wondering the people that are going to come and vote for this 2027 election.
Of course, no matter how the politicians move, at least there are still a lot of people that believe in the system.
Yes, it is just the rate of people now is very low, and it's so discouraging. It's
discouraging, and somehow it's encouraging.
How?
Because if you did, according to Donald Duck, he said that if you fail to participate in politics, you may end up being governed by your inferior. What he means by inferior here is people that are not competent to lead you. So I'm urging on Nigerians, no matter how the system works, no matter what Nigerians are experiencing, 2027 is the right moment for all Nigerians to come out politely and cast their vote. Let them decide who is going to govern them for the next 4 years. Because politics and leadership is not something that we should play for it.
It is important that we keep creating awareness on the importance of
and
going
a lot of people are comparing Nigeria's democracy and American democracy. Nigeria is among the emerging countries. Nigeria is among the developing countries. I actually sound from optimistic angle. Because what America went through, Nigeria is also going through it. And I believe, as if we continue to believe in the system and Nigerians continue to believe in the system, we may see the light of the day.
It's how you always say that you're talking from the optimistic. You make me look like I'm the pessimistic person here. So without staying long on our newspaper review, let's move on to our next segment, which is S24 Reports, shortly coming to you after the break.
During Ramadan and Lent, markets take on a unique rhythm. Traders adjust not just their stock, but sometimes their prices, responding to the needs of families observing these sacred seasons.
Although prices were previously high, they dropped with the arrival of Ramadan. From our perspective as debt sellers, we used to sell one mudu for about 4,500, but now it sells for around 3,000 naira to 3,500 naira. A full bag previously cost about 250,000, but it can now be purchased for less than that. In the past, some customers came intending to buy 3 mudu, but ended up purchasing only 2. However, the situation is now improving gradually.
Lower prices make essentials like dates, rice, and vegetables more accessible, encouraging shoppers to stock up for pre-dawn and evening meals.
But during the Ramadan period, the price has been reduced to 800 naira due to the increase in patronage during this session. We have been able to lower our prices. Similarly, beans that were normally sold between 1,900 and 2,000 naira are now being sold at 1,400 naira to 1,500 naira during Ramadan. These prices reductions were made to support customers and encourage greater accessibility.
Fruit and rice sellers echoed this, noting that the combination of fresh stock and reasonable prices keeps customer coming back even in the busiest hour.
Sales have been fluctuating. Sometimes we experience huge, surprising high sale, while at other times the pace is low. Nevertheless, we remain grateful.
Yet, not every trader changes with the season. Stockfish sellers, for instance, maintain the usual pricing, focused more on supply than on the occasion.
Because it has to do with foreign exchange. And so, people, where they are after what they will eat and be okay, you don't find out that they will not really get concerned about this. So we are having what is known as low patronage.
Despite these different approaches, traders agree this Ramadan and Lent are moments that strengthen community. From price adjustment to steady routines, the marketplace becomes a place where faith, culture, and everyday life intersect.
Welcome back from that break, and this is Political Arena. This afternoon we will discuss the role of media in protecting Nigeria's democracy and ensuring free, fair, credible, and acceptable election in 2027. The role of media is important because it holds leaders accountable, inform the public, and create space for discussion. To talk more on this, I am joined by my colleague Halima Abdurraouf. Halima, welcome to Political Arena.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Abubakar.
Nice meeting you. So, as a media personality, you have been in the development space and the media. Based on your expertise and experience, how do you think the media will ensure credible and acceptable election in the 2027 elections?
I think the media got a key role to play in facilitating credible election come 2027 in multiple ways. First, because the political space is charging up bit by bit, and the media, as a gatekeeper, would find a way to contribute their quota, especially making sure that they give credence to credibility and factual news than just maybe dancing to the tune of maybe their founders or political patronage and all of that. So the first thing for media to know is that they are the gatekeepers. And because there is the Freedom of Information Act or Freedom of Information Framework that gives us the leverage to put things in perspective. So first thing for us to do is to break down key complex issues around 2027 elections to ordinary Nigerians or voters, for them to understand what it means, what 2027 will be for them. And by doing that, you can leverage getting information from appropriate causes like the political parties, the electoral umpire, that's the INEC, etc. When you break those key complex issues down for people to understand, it makes Nigerians make informed decisions come 2027. And because 2027 is just around the corner, if God borrow us time to witness 2027, it's less than a year away, because it was supposed to be in February, if I'm correct. So the role that we'll play now is to educate voters across looking at governance in a bigger perspective, not just about what they're going to get. You know, in the Nigerian election cycle, there is the issue of vote buying and other vices that comes up every electioneering period. So it's for the media to now put their the more thinking caps up to make sure that we break down issues for voters to understand the implication of selling their votes, of collecting money, and of not choosing wisely, not choosing candidate that would tell you about governance, not people that will come and fumble and give you 50-point agenda, and they can't show you the implementation roadmap to those agenda that they put. So the media would play a key role in breaking down complex issues around election, talking about topical issues that people are afraid of. Is he a one-party state or not? Is the opposition credible enough? Is one political party a third force or second force or whatever it is? So the media would be able to demystify all of these things for Nigerians to understand better. And because 2027 feels like a defining moment for us as a nation, so the media would play a key role in educating people on what's best for them, especially if we want a better Nigeria.
Halima, you have seen what happened in Rwanda, misinformation. We have seen what happened with the genocide that happened between Hutu and Tutsi. So, in your own thought, how will the media cope the spread of misinformation?
First, we need to address the fact that misinformation is a big thing in the global arena, not just Nigeria. And the speed and pace at which it goes is another thing. So if you go through the roots, where is the problem from? Is because maybe people stop believing in credible mainstream media. So they're easily swayed by what they see on social media. So we know what happened in Rwanda between the Hutus and Tutsis, where there was genocide, people were killed. So what we can do as media to change the narrative in misinformation is to address the root cause in the first place. Are we credible enough for people to believe in us than what they see on social media? What parameters do we put in place to make sure that in sourcing our news and putting news out, accuracy comes before speed? We're not putting speed first because we want to be the first to break the news. So we address that and putting in tools and technologies and the expertise in place for people to verify and be able to put content out, demystify what misinformation or disinformation is to the people. And after doing that, as media organizations, are people seeing us as people who are tilted towards one particular part or something like that? Is to look inward from the management down to every staff member to see, are we serving the interest of our founders or advertisers or partners or something like that? So that when you put something out there, people know, oh, you're doing this for credibility, not because you're trying to serve the interest of somebody. So misinformation is a big thing. If we look at the speed, the way it's going across the globe, not just Nigeria, is to go back to the root cause. Why do people now believe in going to social media to get credible news before mainstream media? So we should tackle that problem from there first, and then put all of the tools and everything relevant in place to tackle what the misinformation is, and then address it by explaining it to people bit by bit, maybe creating departments and media organizations that will deal with misinformation, disinformation, fake news, etc. I think that would go a long way in changing the narrative.
Your call to young professionals that are eager to get instant gratification ahead of 2027, what can you say to them?
For young professionals in the media space that really are about instant gratification, what they should think about first is you can get instant gain, but what do you make of your future when people already label you that you want to get something instantly? If I'll put that in perspective, say, for instance, you're going to do a reportage and you think the best thing you can do is to get the highest bidder. If you go for an assignment, say, for instance, two political parties, you decide that, oh, I'm going to amplify this story because I got a tip from someone else. you already sold yourself out, because those people would never respect you. If you're looking for expertise, people to talk, analysts in that regard, they will first of all consider that, oh, is that thing that you're going to gain first that matters to you? So they will prefer to look for credible sources. So if you really want to grow in this career path as a media person, put your credibility first and making sure that you go for what is right, the news in ethical ways, in objective manners, because sometimes objectivity can also be subjective. So objectivity in the lens of what the media practice or the global best practices in the media space agreed on. If you do that, money would come later or gratification would come later. If you put in the work, the money will look for you. But if you put instant gratification or money first, you would not go nowhere. That's why you find people drop along the line. They've not gone nowhere, and they will be called maybe kangaroo or PC kind of journalists. So we should avoid that, because if you're building something long-term, you need to put in the work. You need to serve people before you be served. So in that perspective, I think young persons should understand that you need to work before you get the kind of...
In a nutshell, how can media stay neutral?
Staying neutral should be seen in different perspectives for media organizations. For me, maybe I'll say from the lens of my practice, neutrality doesn't mean you are a coward. It just means you're putting system in place. Neutrality doesn't mean you don't want to speak to issues, but because you're doing enough research to make sure that you stay in the middle. So the media is the gatekeeper between the people and the government, but the ones that communicate policies, government agenda, governance issues, corruption investigation, everything else that you think of, media does it. And because we do that, we need to do it with facts. We need to make sure we do research, and we need to make sure that we're putting the right things out. So it's not just about neutrality. You find conventional media platforms do enough verification and you say they bring you stale news. It's better to bring you stale news than to go and put yourself in one position. For instance, some media organizations serve their founders, maybe where their founders are from, or maybe the religion their founders are practicing, or maybe the ethnic...
They have taken side.
Yes, they've taken sides in a nutshell. But then staying neutral means you're grounding yourself in the work that you do to make sure that you inform people the right way, not to be one-sided, to be the real gatekeeper of information that you are, to make sure that you enlighten the general public, you change the narrative. Media in the global space definitely sets the tone for everything that goes on in advanced economies. So we should strive to do the same thing in our climb, in making sure that neutrality doesn't mean we are cowards. We're just doing our due diligence as media organizations to make sure that we don't misinform people. We don't throw fake news out there. We don't destabilize a country, because when it comes to patriotism, it's not one person's or one man's business, or it's not just the government business. I believe that as a neutral media organization, you're also contributing to the development of your nation without compromise. You're making sure that things go as they should, because you're setting the agenda or setting the tone for the way things should go in your country. So patriotism should be for every Nigerian, and it's also linked to what you call neutrality in the media space.
Women participation in politics is declining, and Nigerians are approaching 2027. What are your odes to women outside?
Women. I think first we need to understand that our country actually needs to do a lot more in terms of women participation, starting from the law. I mean, from the National Assembly. What does it say about giving women seats on the table? What's the participation? We can't even achieve 10%. If you go through the National Assembly now, the Senate, probably there are less than 10 women. The Federal House of Assembly, same thing, 20-something women, maybe in total out of over 300 people. So first, we need to go back to the roots. Does our Constitution permit women to get these positions? Then women, because the space looks shrinked to only males, when women go there, they put all the rules that make women not thrive. Just imagine me as a married woman, I'm a politician, and the political party I belong to decide to put a meeting at 3 a.m. Do you expect me to go there? No way. And it will be very difficult because it's a continuous thing. So it will be very difficult for a woman, especially maybe a professional woman or a woman with proper upbringing and a bigger picture to life, to say, I want to be involved in politics where whether I'm not married, I'm going for a meeting at 3 a.m. They do that sometimes deliberately to sideline the women. So it means we should go back. All of these things. Yes, we understand that governance is not an easy thing, and then politics is really a very dicey thing as well. But then, do we even create space for women to be able to thrive in politics? So it's not about giving women advice on what to do in 2027. Does the system give the women opportunity to actually participate in real time? I'm not saying participation in a word of mouth, like in real time. If you give them the chance, women would definitely do good. And I think there is a narrative going about recently that there was a video that a media organization made on women with mood swings and emotions, and a lot of young men who don't even understand what life is generally feel like, oh, is this the people you give leadership position? Even in Islam, for instance, I'm a Muslim. During the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadija radiallahu anha, the first wife of the Prophet, was older than him. She was a merchant. She was even, that's why they called the Prophet Al-Amin, that truthful person. And women were thriving. She was a business owner. She was a leader in that right. The daughter of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well, and other companions, women, did. The people with some of the narrations of the authentic ahadith are women. So why should we say maybe on the religious lens, women are the weaker vessels, they are the weaker version? There are women that are doing outstandingly well. There are people like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the first female World Trade Organization DG, or whatever the designation is, I beg your pardon. There are women. There is Gambosa Waba in northern Nigeria. There is the Fatima in the Usman Danfodio lineage, and other women that have done. There is late Dora Akunyili. Did they not do well? They did well. In fact, one of the outstanding women I look up to as a young professional is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She's married. She's modest. You would never catch Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala not dressing in a modest and also African way. She's always portraying that. Is it because she's a female that she should not thrive? When people are professionals, remove their gender out of it. Just deal with them as professionals. So women can do better if they get the enabling environment to do better.
My final question before I allow you to go. Hijabi journalist. What triggered you toward that, in a nutshell?
I don't know where that is coming from, Abubakar, but I just want to tell you, all of these things for me, I don't want to label or put a kind of stereotype in place, but everybody should get fair chance, whether I'm covered or not. I mean, what's more important is modesty, haya, right, in Islam. So what's more important to me is I should be able to deliver irrespective of whether I'm wrapped or not, I'm veiled or not. So competency first, and people should be given chance irrespective of what their belief, their religious belief, their ethnic inclination, their regional inclination, and etc. Because what you're focusing on first is the competence, the expertise, what they're bringing to the table. So if you say, for instance, you don't want to give me a chance, because I've experienced that in my career, I've got the best opportunity that I thought in the Nigerian space, not the international space, because I got a better opportunity after that. I passed every single phase of interview, audition, etc. I even got to a point that I did the medical checks, and that's the final stage for the employment. I didn't get it simply because someone felt a certain way about my religion and because I'm covered. That shouldn't be in a media space, especially for people trying to say we are the gatekeepers of making things better, and then we're doing that. That's why we want to do better at S24, and that's why we feel everybody is welcome, especially if you're skilled, competent enough to give us what the audience would be like taking with them that, oh, this is one of the best, or this is a credible media organization. Does that answer?
That. It has been insightful with you speaking to S24 on Political Arena. That is all we have on Political Arena. Stay tuned for S24 documentary and reports.
Across Nigeria, electricity has become uncertain, a cycle of light and darkness shaping daily life. From major cities to small communities, millions are learning to live without consistent power.
From my calculation, for the longest, since ending of last year, let's say November, December, and it has reduced productivity for me in a long time. If I can make a clothes and I end up using like 3 days because I have to wait for lights to iron the necessary things with the clothes. And then I've lost customers for hair making because I don't have a generator. I have a small one. I'm not used to like dragging. So when people come to like wash hair and dry, I don't dry. So they end up going to another side to go and make the hair.
Here, skill is not enough. Without electricity, productivity stalls. In Nyanya, darkness lingers longer than nightfall. For small business owners, every hour without electricity translates directly into lost income. An apology from the Minister of Power has been extended to Nigerians, but here in Nyanya, many are asking, does an apology change the situation?
We don't need apology. We need him to work. Apology does not fix things. That is why he is appointed as a minister. I know during this fasting period, my food spoiled in the freezer. I think we trash food like almost 2 or 3 times. I have a 10-month-old baby that will be crying throughout the night because of lack of power.
It's affecting my business because most customers complain of right. I didn't meet up their clothes, and the issue is because of the lights. They hardly give us lights here. Sometimes full day like this from morning till night till the next day. They won't flash lights. Most time they will flash it not less than seconds. They don't take until the next day again.
For him, electricity is not a luxury, it is survival.
Issue of electricity has been in the agenda of Nigeria for a long time. We have seen policies of every government, even in their manifesto. Even the current government has promised some of us that are no opportunity to have solar, we have to opt in for fuel. And especially with the hiking in the fuel price, it makes it more difficult.
If people have not come to buy water, there's no money to use to buy fuel because of the way they increase the fuel. So our customers are always complaining. If there's no fuel, there's no water.
In a place where water depends on power, the outage cuts deeper than expected.
I can remember since last year, early this year, there is no light. Sometimes no cold water, no cold drinks. I have to on gen to sell drinks, to cool my drinks. So like if I am selling pure water for 300 naira, people are complaining. So it's not my fault. I have to sell to make my money because of fuel. At least we are not requesting for much. If there will be lights, maybe like 6 or 7 hours for us to manage, we'll be okay.
Even the simplest businesses are feeling the heat, literally and financially. Across Yenya, the pattern repeats: higher cost, lower income, and growing uncertainty about what tomorrow holds.
From that documentary. Now to technology, innovation, and digital world with me, Aisha Muhammad. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Nigeria's healthcare sector is witnessing a digital transformation as operators adopt technology to tackle delays in access to care. Leading this shift, AXA Masad Health has launched a WhatsApp chatbot known as Caris, designed to reduce waiting time for treatment approval and improve service delivery across its network of over 2,000 hospitals. The platform is expected to benefit more than 300,000 enrollees, marking a major step towards efficient, tech-driven healthcare access. In the energy and security space, tech entrepreneur Tunji Olasende has unveiled Future Inc., a new company targeting Nigeria's electricity deficit and security challenges. The initiative expands his footprint beyond real estate through his firm, Gates & Carter Limited, introducing technology-driven solutions to critical national issues. Meanwhile, telecom subscribers are calling for urgent action over the rising vandalism of infrastructure. The National Association of Telecom Subscribers of Nigeria is urging security agencies to strengthen surveillance following reports from the Nigerian Communications Commission that hundreds of telecom access were damaged or stolen in 2025, threatening service delivery in Nigeria's $76 billion telecom telecom sector. From Nigeria's growing adoption of digital solutions, attention now turns to the broader African landscape, where opportunities are expanding but challenges remain. A new global study by CloudWords shows that internet freedom across Africa remains uneven, with even top-performing countries like Cape Verde and Côte d'Ivoire still ranking below global leaders in digital rights and online access. However, Africa's digital potential is gaining global attention at GITEC Africa 2026, where investors and innovators are focusing on a $350 billion digital economy opportunity. The event has brought together over 1,400 exhibitors, highlighting advancements in AI, 5G, and digital infrastructure deployment across the continent. Globally, the race for technological dominance is accelerating, with major players investing heavily in connectivity and artificial intelligence. Tech giant Amazon has confirmed plans to launch its Project Kuiper satellite network by mid-2026, marking a major push into global internet connectivity and competition in the space-based communication market. At the same time, discussions are intensifying within the academic community over the impact of artificial intelligence on human creativity. Experts are increasingly examining whether AI enhances innovation or risks diminishing originality and intellectual depth in the long term. And that's it on ICT World. Khadija Mohammed is on standby with entertainment updates coming up after the break. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back from that break. And now let's dive into today's entertainment update. On April 9th, Afrobeat sensation Ira Star teamed up with fast-rising Twitch streamer Jarvis on the Jarvis For Real channel for an energetic live stream that has since drawn massive attention online. The sensation, which kicked off at 10 p.m., was delivered a mix of humor, candid moments, and personal revelations. Viewers were treated to playful interaction, including Jarvis showcasing her AI robots and introducing family members, while also sharing a surprising story about receiving a luxury Mercedes-Benz GLE as a birthday gift from her boyfriend. Ira Star also got real about dealing with cyberbullying, explaining that she has learned to brush up negativity as part of life in the spotlight. The stream maintained a light-hearted tone throughout, with fans particularly amused by Jarvis struggling with Yoruba phrases, adding an authentic and relatable touch to the viral collaborations. From a buzzing live stream to a revealing industry moment, the Nigerian artist Crane has opened up about his departure from Maven Record during a revealing live stream hosted by Kata Efe on April 9. Addressing recent controversy, Crane confirmed he is no longer with the label, noting that issues stemming from hacked posts on his X account where allegations of exploitation were made have been now resolved. Reflecting on his journey, the singer shared emotional highlights, including how his first major earning allowed his late mother to step away from over 2 decades of fruit selling in Iyano Egba. He also offered lighter insight into his early days in the industry, revealing that Tiwa Savage was his first celebrity crush. Crane further spoke about his close relationship within the label, mentioning bonding moments with Rema over FIFA games and friendship with Bayani, Ira Star, and Ladipo. He also hinted at upcoming independent projects, signaling a new chapter in his career. Now to the latest buzz surrounding Afrobeat heavyweight. The Afrobeat superstar Wizkid appeared to be taking a laid-back approach amid ongoing drama involving Burna Boy and his personal DJ Tunes. The clip circulating online show Wizkid enjoying downtime in Los Angeles, dancing with friends to the classic One Name Ebezina by Chief Stephen Osita Osedebe.
Fans have praised the singer for staying focused on good vibes despite tension in the music scene. The development follows reports of an altercation involving Burna Boy and DJ Tunes at a Lagos nightclub, which reportedly led to a temporary restriction of Burna Boy's music by a DJs Association. Burna Boy later downplayed the incident, describing it as minor. Meanwhile, Wizkid briefly stirred reaction with now deleted social media posts before going quiet again. Away from the controversy, the singer has been spotted playing tennis and golf, receiving notes from Olamide and teasing a high-energy studio snippet, building anticipation for what could his major release for 2026. And now, from the music drama to international festival update. Irish singer Seamat has expressed disappointment following the cancellation of her headline performance at the Lindo Festival in London. The festival, originally scheduled to run from June 12th to 14th at Victoria Park, has now been reduced to a single-day event set for August 31st. Organizers say the decision was necessary to protect the park after what has been described as one of the wettest winters in recent years, which disrupted ongoing reseeding and improvement efforts. As a result, several artists, including Father John Misty and Bombay Bicycle Club, will no longer perform at the event. In a statement shared online, Seamat apologized to fans, acknowledging the inconvenience caused, particularly for those who had already made travel plans. Festival organizers also clarified that the changes were not the fault of any artist and confirmed that ticket holders will receive full refund. And that brings us to the end of the entertainment update for today. Coming up next is the sport noise after the break.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you, Khadija, for that entertainment updates. We begin with a powerful identity story in athletics, as Jumeyo Shuluwita declares his commitment to Nigeria despite having other international options. In an exclusive, the sprinter says he is ready to be judged for choosing Nigeria, describing it as a privilege tied deeply to identity, family, and love for the sports. This marks another example of diaspora athletes strengthening Nigeria's global sporting presence beyond football. In football, Victor Osimhen could be set for an early return as his club coach expresses optimism about his recovery timeline. The striker's potential comeback is a major boost, not just for his club ambitions, but also for Nigeria ahead of crucial international fixtures. At FC Barcelona, young talent Lamine Yamal continues to draw praise, while teammate Ferran Torres backs the squad ahead of a crucial return leg back. Meanwhile, Nigerian midfield Alex Iwobi is showing leadership, applauding teammates, and building momentum in club competitions. Over in England, Chelsea FC are reportedly planning to retain rising star Josh Archambault, signaling a focus on youth development amid squad rebuilding. Elsewhere, Liverpool FC are making transfer headlines, with reports suggesting a significant financial decision involving Bafoda Diakite Toure as they reshape their squad. And in global boxing, tensions are rising as Tyson Fury responds to attorney Joshua, insisting that any potential clash must follow a bout with Deontay Wilder first. The heavyweight division remains as dramatic as ever, with fans still waiting on one of the sport's biggest potential matchups. From identity-driven choices to transfer drama and global rivalries, the sports world continues to reflect not just competition, but pride, strategy, and legacy. We'll be joining Siddiqat Yusuf for Speedy News after the break.
Thank you, Martha. Una welcome from the break, my people. Make I give una story where they happen for Nigeria reach Obodoyibo today. Our story go begin from the attack where happened for Borno State. Serious fight happened for Benshek inside Kaga local government area of Borno State early morning of April 9, 2026. Terrorists launched attack Go Army Base. The 29th Task Force Brigade headquarters tried to take over the place, but soldiers fight back strong. Defense headquarters confirmed say both soldiers and terrorists died for the attack, according to General Michael Onoja. We be director of Defense Media Operations. The military say this attack shows say the terrorists don't dey desperate after plenty losses with them don't suffer before. Soldiers don't start operation, chase the ones wey run, and make sure say them no regroup again, as security don't dey tight for the area. If we carry the tori reach Sokoto State, we go see say fear don't force residents from at least 21 villages run leave their homes because of danger and bandit attack, where they happen for there every time. Many families not even fit carry anything as them they run for their life. Most of them don't gather for Tureta and nearby communities where them they face serious hardship. They say food no day and they plenty for there. They no see help with basic things where they need to survive for there. Some they stay with their relatives, some they sleep for schools, and others don't find where to put head first as them they wait for security and government support. Meanwhile, United States don't order some of their embassy workers and their families to leave Abuja because of security where they was every day for Nigeria. For new travel advice, them tell their citizens made them think well before coming to Nigeria again. They even put the country for level 3 warning because of crime, terrorism, kidnapping, and civil unrest. Them also add more states to do not travel lists, including Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Plateau, Rivers, and others. Them won't say healthcare services not too reliable and advise people to avoid large gathering and stay at alert for those places. At the same time, federal government don't raise alarm over one serious cattle disease where they spread fast. They call disease contagious bovine pleuropneumonia. The Minister of Livestock Development, Ede Mukhtar Maiha, said the disease don't affect more than 17 states, fit cause big loss for livestock sector if no quick action is taken. Government won't say this one fit affect food supply, especially meat and milk. However, them don't start vaccination program and then work with states and livestock owners to control the spread. Another story be say Trade Union Congress, TUC, don't call on government to introduce subsidy to reduce the fuel price wahala for Nigeria. Them say the constant increase for petrol don't make life hard for workers and ordinary citizens. According to TUC, if government support local refineries, fuel price fee come down and pressure go reduce. Them talk say if government no quick do something, the economy go continue to the worse. And for Obodo Yibotori, Al-Aqsa Mosque for East Jerusalem don't reopen after Israeli authorities closed them for 40 days because of war. The mosque opened early Thursday morning and plenty Muslim worshippers return for prayers. Many people show strong emotion and some people even they cry and others they give thanks. They happy say them feel worship again after a long period of restriction. Now all the story we will bring for una today be that. Una bye bye. Make a sharply leave una to Zainab Ibrahim.
Welcome back, and thank you so much, Sadiqa Yusuf, for that version of our news. With these, we've come to the end of S24 News Rundown. Do join us tomorrow, same time, as you follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television. My name is Zainab Ibrahim.